A foggy morning in the autumn can be a beautiful thing. The clear skies and calm winds that cause the fog promise a beautiful day after the sun burns away the last of the ghostly mists. My son Daniel and I picked up a couple of kayaks at the Pocomoke River Canoe Company in Snow Hill. We made it to the Porter's Crossing Bridge just in time to catch the last magic moments of the morning calm.
I just can't get enough of that reflection in the water. It is perfect. It's a big old black mirror. It just kind of doubles the fun because you can see everything from a totally different perspective.
At about the midway point in the 2.5-hour journey, the river opens up and the pace quickens, but there are still plenty of jewels to discover along the way that beckon for a brief stop.
That is a taggable fish by the skin of his teeth, dude. Alright. But we'll sterilize the tag before we actually put the tag in the fish. Yeah, it sends a ping. Each tag sends off a different frequency ping. The receivers that we have out in the bay receive that ping, and it identifies the different frequency with each different fish, so we know what fish it is.
So now preps are underway to perform the operation that will insert the tag, but why study weak fish to begin with?
We just don't know what's happening with the population. We know that the population is in decline. A lot of people used to fish. Delaware Bay used to be the heyday for all these fish. You know, they were everywhere, huge, you know, up to 36 inches, up to 18, 19 pounds, and now we're catching a 13, 14-inch fish, and that's considered large. So we want to know what's happening. Why is this population in decline?
All right, Jacob. You ready to start time? Yeah, he's in the process of becoming anesthetized. I can say I've put a fish to sleep. As we wait for him to go belly up, and then I'll try and stimulate him by just touching him. If I get no response, he's good to go, and it's just bang, bang, bang.
Weak fish can be found from Nova Scotia to Florida, and they get their name because of the weak muscles around their mouth. And now this one is ready for the operating table. A tube is inserted into its mouth to keep water flowing over the gills.
Just adding some chlorhexidine to clean the area.
A small scalpel is used to make an incision into the body cavity, and great care is used to make sure that no organs are disturbed. Then the sterilized tag is inserted.
Tags in. Can you get me the straight forceps? I don't like these as much.
And the incision is sutured up. Total time of the operation, 8 minutes. This balloon can safely take up to 10 passengers, and it's state-of-the-art. It's where 18th and 21st century technologies come together. Where else do you see a fire reflected in a GPS screen?
Say up, up, and away.
Bye! We're taking off from the town of Greensboro, Maryland on this crisp November morning, and one of the first things we'll see is our reflection in a mirror, the surface of a perfectly calm Choptank River. The winds are gentle this morning, and there's practically no sound at all except for the conversation among the passengers and the occasional blast of hot air keeping us aloft.
7 and 2, 7 and 3.
Steve and Carly use a simple tool called a transect and show us how they take a subsample to determine crab numbers.
There's so many crabs it would be hard to measure, to count them all on the beach, so what we do is we subsample. We take 1 meter square, and then we measure the beach. The beach is 200 meters long, and we take six different samples, and then we can take an average, and then we can calculate how many crabs are on the whole beach.
In the Maryland coastal bays, peak spawning occurs in June, but it goes into July. So unlike the more northern bays like Delaware Bay or the inland bays, their peak sampling occurs in May.
And just then, could it be? Surely it can't. But it is. It be the dreaded Pirate Pete.
You think you can take the treasure from the great Pirate Pete? God save!
Rules to live by. You can eat any mushroom once, but you should not. So we talk about ID, skills for ID, staying safe while foraging mushrooms. So as we go, it's a good idea for everyone to spread out a little bit. If you see a mushroom, shout, "Mushroom!" And then I will come and take a look at your mushroom with you. Mushroom! But it's a cousin. It's Ganoderma tsugae, or another related Ganoderma species. So the most important thing about foraging mushrooms is to never eat anything unless you are 100% certain about what you're eating before you do. And so how do you become certain? You learn how to ID mushrooms. You learn about what the stems look like, what the gills look like, what the pores or teeth under the cap look like. You must identify each mushroom for what it is using the dichotomous key.
And this is just one colony, so we'll explore more of the Shankses. This bigger colony has plenty of fledglings.
The pelicans lay between 2 to 3 eggs, about 30 days of incubation, and then 75 days from hatch to fledge. So 30 days plus 2 months, it's like 3.5 months from incubation to flight. So it's a long season. And they spend their summers here, so there'll be birds out here into August, even some into September before they're flying, and that's when you see them on the beaches. So if you start seeing pelicans like at Assateague, Ocean City, or Lewis, whatever, a lot of them probably are these birds that have fledged and they're taken off. Then they go expand and fly. They go all the way up to Long Island.
The longest distance I swim was 1.5 miles.
So this is going to beat that record today, right?
Yep.
It's a great event for the community, brings people from outside the community to Delmarva. It's well organized, it's just a fun thing to do.
Being in the moment, being in the water, just isolated from the world with your own thoughts, it's wonderful.
3, 2, 1. And go!
The swimmers are started in groups to avoid bunching, and the volunteer safety crews keeps everybody on track.
You're going to see some people who are going to finish this in 30 or 35 minutes, which is incredible. We actually have an 8-year-old competing in this. Mom has cleared it, insurance has cleared it. She's gone through all of the different parameters that she needed to be able to do it. So it's funny, it's the 8, 13, 15-year-old, swimmers all year round. They're the fastest ones out here. And then we'll see all the way to 2 hours. We will have people, you have to clear that channel within 1 hour from the time you start, or we actually pull you out.
But there's room enough for all. And for the record, no surfers were hooked during the filming of the story. It's pretty obvious that today's conditions are ideal for the surfers. But what about the anglers? For the answer to that, we checked in with one of the teams we've gotten to know over the years, the Baton Babes.
This surf is unbelievable. I like to wear my waders because I can go out farther, but it's kind of rough for that today. We're trying to put as much weight on our line as we can, but it's still coming back in.
Well, we're having to use a little heavier sinker, maybe an 8 or a 10 to stay. The surf is kind of rough.
But it's still taking my bait right down the beach. Great for surfers, so yeah.
Definitely the potential to catch a big wave. That's not my thing.
So it just goes to prove one person's trash is another one's treasure. But even though people may have different reasons for getting to the beach this time of year, just showing up is a reward in itself.